This conference will now be recorded.
So today, this is my 22nd session webinar series. And in terms of cloud, this is fourth session, which is related to cloud. So today, first time I'm talking about AWS. And I hope everyone is new in AWS or someone has experience in AWS. You can write in the chat room. And so today we discuss about AWS. So this is little information about me. Many people knows that, but again, I'm telling I'm Ahmad. I'm RAC certified, Golden Gate certified, OCP certified, and recently I had cleared all 6 cloud certifications. And these are my technical blogs where you can go and check. But right now I'm not writing anything. I'm busy in taking webinar, and this is my YouTube channel which I started last month. And this is my networks where you can catch me: LinkedIn, Twitter, FB. And let's begin with AWS. So first, I will tell about the certifications. So as you see in Oracle Cloud, we have foundation, then architect, then developer, then operations. So same thing is in AWS. If you want to clear the foundation, so that paper name is called as AWS Cloud Practitioner, okay, which is very easy, and I'm planning to give this month. And in architect, they have 2 papers, same as Oracle. One is architect solutions associate, and one is
Ahmad, Ahmad, 1 minute.
yes.
1 minute. Sorry, the track was lost. Sorry to interrupt you first again. Could you please repeat what one needs to, where one needs to start? Means, is it mandatory? If not mandatory, what is the minimum thing one has to write before writing the next one? Is it mandatory?
Okay. So see, if you are new, if you are not IT person, so don't worry. You just go with Cloud Foundation exam. In AWS, you can give Cloud Practitioner exam. So it requires 6 month fundamental and industry knowledge, but it is not mandatory. Okay. And for Cloud Practitioner, anyone can give. And in terms of Oracle, it has Oracle Foundation, Oracle Cloud Foundation. So both are same foundation exam. And after that, according to the your job title, job role, you can go with developer. If you are a developer, then you can go for AWS developer certification. If you are in operations, then you can go for SysOps administrator associate certification. If you are working as an architect, you can go for architect associate, and then you can become architect associate, professional. So these 2 exams belongs in architect, and in operations you have one exam. But operations and developer, if you combine, then you have to give a DevOps professional exam. So this is the track in AWS, but cloud certification is different. In operations, they have 1 paper. In developer, they have 1 paper. Okay, and in architect, they have 2 paper. And also in AWS, we have AWS database certified. We have data analyst certification. We have machine learning certification. We have security. We have advanced networking. We have Alexa skill builder. So these are specialized certifications which differentiate from others cloud provider. So this is the AWS certification journey. So suppose my preference is AWS cloud practitioner, then AWS architect, and AWS solutions. I'm planning to go with this direction. But if you are developer or operations, you
Ahmad,
can go to the
Ahmad,
second thing. Yes.
Ahmad, I think like you are a DBA. I think most of the people who joined also DBA. For a DBA
Yes.
person, what are
Mhm.
the, see, AWS might be having 100 certifications, right? We
Mm,
hardly might be doing like couple, like 2 or 3 or whatever it be, it depends from individual to individual. So for a DBA, where one has to start, and is it independent or say for example something which we needs to write, is it dependent on a prior thing?
Okay. See, for any DBA network or operating system guy, they have to give cloud practitioner first. That is common. And after that, for DBA, you can go with the architect sections. And if you want to more perform well, then you can go with operations. That is SysOps. Okay. Rest developer, I don't prefer to go with DBA. And also you can do specialization in database, that is AWS database certified. So these are the things I will recommend for the DBA.
So AWS database and a SysOps administrator and solutions architect. Then
Yeah.
once these three are done, then one can go even for solutions architect.
Yes, for professional.
Okay, fine. So four, something like.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Just
If possible, in the chat or end of the session, request you to please share the codes of these four.
okay. So I'm putting the number
Yeah.
4, and this is 5.
Something like everything will have some number, right? 1072, whatever it be. So something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Just give me 1 second. My manager is calling. Okay, so this is the way you can go for certifications. This is my order. Okay, maybe your order is different. Okay, so according to my Oracle Cloud certification, I'm giving this order. So it depends. Okay, maybe this can be second, and this can be third, and then fourth, and then fifth. Okay, so according to your, because right now I'm in infrastructure cloud team, so I'm managing Azure and cloud. So according to my experience in database, I'm telling these orders. Okay, so orders maybe depend on your job skills and your desire, where you want to go. Okay, so next, the estimated cost of, suppose you want to do the practice on AWS Console. So most of the services, basically we use services in cloud. So most of the services are free. So if I use a service will cost you money, I will tell you. When I will actually, I'm planning to take the sessions, paid session for cloud. So you can read more about AWS free tier services by this link, aws.amazon.com free. So that is related to the practice. And these are the services. If you are going to register, so you have to pay $12. If you are going to route 53, you have to pay $50. Pesa, config 0.18, KMS 0.12, and other services are $0. So you can do the practice without paying anything on Amazon cloud. And let's begin to understand why we need the cloud. So suppose I am accessing the website. So in website, there is one client and there is one server, and client will connect to the server with the network. So in that, network is there, and obviously every one has a IP addresses, because communication happen on the basis of IP addresses. So clients have IP addresses and servers have IP addresses. So this is the way means website works whenever you are accessing any data from the website, right? So then on that type of infrastructure, you require CPU that will do the computation, and then you require the RAM, which actually do the processing. Then you have to store the data, so you required storage, and you have to store the data in a structured way, so you require the database. And also to connectivity, you require router, switches, DNS server, right? So these are the things which basically used whenever you are accessing any website, anything on internet. Got it? Then IT terminology, if you see that require network. So in network, we require cables, routers, and server connected with each other, if you can see in the diagram. And router, basically a device that forward the data packets between computer networks, and they know where to send your packets on the internet. And switches basically takes a packet and send it to the connected or correct server or client on your network. So this is the way your data will transfer, and your data will you get from if you are accessing anything. Okay, so this is IT terminology. So now, how to build your infrastructure? Suppose you are planning to start a company or you're planning to start a business. So basically, if you don't have a capital, so you will start from your home or garage if you have a garage. So if you know that Google started its first office from garage, right? So that is the famous things on the IT industry. And after that, you will go with one server. So you will put in the garage or home, and suppose you are getting good clients and good income, then you add more server, right? But you are building a server in your home or garage, so it is very risky, because maybe sometime power is not there, maybe sometimes other thing is not accurate, so your work will be harmed. Okay, maybe any natural disaster, your garage or your home destroy, so your server will destroy, your data will destroy, right? So that's why for this we have a concept. If suppose you earn too much, then you will hire or take an office, and in that office you will take one room where you will put your data center. In that you can put one server, two server, or three server. Means you are increasing the scalability of the of your data, so that it will give the high availability, it will give the performance, it will give the performance issues, so solving the problem. So this is the way you are building your infrastructure, right? And after that, these are the old things which we do. Then what is the problem with the traditional IT setup? You have to pay for the rent for the data center, you have to pay for power supply, cooling, maintenance, and you have to pay for hardware, suppose you are adding or replacing. And your scaling is limited, because according to the budget you will add the server. Okay, and you have to hire 24/7 team to monitor the infrastructure. But suppose if you get any disaster like earthquake, power shutdown, fire. So what you will do, how you will come out this problem. So then this concept came. That concept is called as cloud. So you got the point why we required the cloud. Okay, so let's begin with cloud. So in cloud, thanks Indra for responding. So you are the representative. Okay, so cloud computing is basically on-demand delivery of your compute power and database storage, application, and other IT resources. And who will provide this cloud services? Basically a third vendor or any other vendor. So where you have to pay as you go pricing model, and you can get exactly the right type and size of computing resources you need, and you can access many resources as you need. Suppose I want to take one service more, so within a 1 second you can take it, that service. Okay, you don't have to write anywhere, you don't need to talk to anyone, you just start that services and add it in your server, and then you can use. Okay, and later on, according to the usage of that services, you will get the bill. So this is simplest way of access server, storage, database, and set of application services. So the first Amazon Web Services, which basically owns and maintains the network connected hardware and required for these application services. So while you provision and use that you need via a web application. So this is the basic concept of cloud, and cloud is based on cloud computing. So this is cloud computing. So if you see, this is your earlier office. Now you are moving your data center onto the cloud. So in cloud, you can add, you can take one server, or you can take two server, you can take three server, and you can take up to n number of server. According to your requirement, you can add it in your account. Okay, so now some cloud services which we use daily but we don't know. Okay, so the first important services we use daily from the student level, Gmail. So Gmail is basically a cloud email service, and if you want, if your storage is more, then you have to pay. Otherwise you don't need to pay for any infrastructure cost. Okay, and same way, if you want to store the data, recently I have taken 30 days free storage in Dropbox. So that is again cloud storage service, and this is cloud email service. So whatever the services you are taking, whatever the things you are taking from the cloud, that is called as service. Okay, so basically Dropbox is built on AWS. I hope everyone knows that. And right now this Netflix is a customer increase in lockdown period. I also taken Netflix account, so it is also built in AWS, and there you can take video on demand. So these are the basic general daily things you are using, but you don't know these are the cloud services. Okay, so these are the best example of cloud services. And now, how your deployment model of the cloud. So we know that we have private, we have public, and we have hybrid cloud. So private cloud is basically provided by rack space, and this is used by a single organization. Basically, if you know that banking customer are not moving to the cloud because they don't want to move to the public, they want a secure data center. So that's why they can go with private cloud. So the complete control on the customer side and security. and specific business needs they can get here in private cloud. And in terms of public cloud, we have many. The first one is Azure. This is Azure and Google Cloud and AWS. So here, cloud resources owned and operated by a third-party cloud service provider, which client can access or customer can access over the internet. And there are many advantages for this, but I will cover 6 advantages of cloud computing. And the last one is hybrid. This is the mixture of private and public. Okay, so some client wants some information should be in own data center, so they can go for public private cloud. And then they want some services on the cloud, then they can go for private public cloud, that is AWS. So control over sensitive assets in your private infrastructure, and some server they can put on premises, and some server they can put on the cloud. So this is the flexible and cost effective architecture or model of the public cloud. So this is the third cloud. Okay, now what is the characteristics of cloud computing? The first one
Ahmad,
is on, yes.
private cloud means the data will be within our premises then?
No, their premises. Everything
And
will be their premises. You will access only the things through net.
okay,
Data center will be in their premises.
okay.
That's why it is public.
No, for
But it
private
is
cloud.
secure. Yeah, private data center is in your premises. That's
No,
why it is
for
private.
private
No
cloud.
other one can access. Yeah, I'm talking about private cloud. Data center will be in your premises. Everything is in your organization.
Then, but it will be the data center will be within our region, our premises only. But it is
Yes.
control. It is means the services are provided by say AWS.
No, in private cloud, rack is there. AWS not providing private cloud.
Oh, okay,
AWS in public cloud and hybrid cloud. Private
okay.
cloud is basically provided by rack space. That's why I have mentioned here
So
in that.
the Azure Google Cloud also is they are not providing private cloud. Only Rackspace is providing private cloud.
Yes.
Okay.
As far I know, this one. Okay. So 5 characteristics of cloud computing is on-demand service. So what is that? User can provision the resources and use them without human interaction from the cloud provider, and it is a broad network access. Okay, means every resource will available over the network and can be accessed by the client platform. And third, multi-tenancy and resource pooling means multiple customer can share the same infrastructure and application with security and privacy, and multiple customers are serviced from the same physical resources. So that's why it will reduce the cost. And rapid elasticity and scalability means automatically and quickly acquire and dispose resources when needed. I already said that when you want any services or resource, you can just add it and use it, and quickly and easily scale based on demand. And then measured services. So what does it mean? If you are using, then you have to pay according to the hours or day or months. So this is accurate pay calculation in the cloud. So these are the 5 characteristics of cloud. And now 6 advantage of cloud computing. So we know that capex and opex. So basically capex is capital expenditure and opex is operational expenditure. So pay on demand means don't own the hardware, and it will reduce the TCO, means total cost of ownership and operational expenses, and benefits from massive economies of scale. means prices are reduced as AWS is more efficient due to large scale and scale based on actual measured usage. So according to the capacity, you can stop, you can start the services, and it increase speed and agile. Stop spending money running and maintaining data center and go global in minutes. Okay, because you are using global infrastructure. So in global infrastructure we have regions, and in regions we have a zone, so that we discuss in later slides. So these are the advantage of cloud computing. So what problem solved if you using cloud? So first thing is that you will get flexibility, means whenever you want, you can use the resource, you can change the resource. And cost effectiveness means when you use, you have to pay. When you don't use, you don't need to pay. Scalability means you can add the hardware, you can reduce the hardware or remove the hardware. Elasticity means ability to scale out and scale in when needed. High availability and fault tolerance because you have multiple zones in multiple in regions. So every region, suppose you have 3 zones, so 3 zones on different location. So if suppose one zone is down, so you can access the data from 2 other zones. So that depends which plan you are taking. And agile is rapid develop and test and launch software applications. So these problems basically solved if you are using cloud. Okay, now this is the important things, types of cloud computing. As we know that we have infrastructure as a service, we have platform as a service, we have software as a service. So the infrastructure as a service, basically it will provide the building blocks, it will provide the network, it will provide the computers, it will provide the data storage, it will provide the high level of flexibility, and it will provide easy parallel with traditional on-premises IT infrastructure. And platform as a service, it basically give the platform where you can run your application and data. So you don't need to worry about infrastructure. You only focus on development of your data. And software as a service, you don't need anything, you just only run the product and manage by the service provider. So this is the things. So if you see the diagram, if suppose you have on-premises data, so you require networking, storage, servers, virtualization, OS, middleware, runtime, data application. So you have to manage all things. So whatever you have to manage, it is in blue color, and whatever vendor or cloud provider is managed, it is yellow color. So if you are taking infrastructure as a service, in that from networking to virtualization, cloud provider will manage. From OS to application, you will manage. But if you are taking a platform as a service, so from networking to runtime, you have to cloud have to manage, cloud provider. You only manage application and data. But if you are taking software as a service package, then everything will manage by the cloud provider. Okay. So example of cloud computing, if we are using infrastructure as a service, so in Amazon we have Amazon EC2 and GCP, that is Google, and Azure, Rackspace, DigitalOcean, and Linode. These are the provider which provides infrastructure as a service. And if we are talking platform as a service, then AWS provide Elastic Beanstalk, and Heroku, Google, App Engine, and Microsoft Azure. And software as a service, in that AWS is also there, where you have recognition for machine learning, Google Apps, that is Gmail, and Dropbox and Zoom. So these are the software as a service. Okay, so these are the examples of cloud computing, because many DBAs have confusion about this, so that's why I have added this. And pricing of the model, so according to AWS, I am telling, so maybe Azure has different, maybe Oracle has different pricing concept, but AWS has 3 pricing fundamental. as you go. Okay, and in that it will charge compute, pay for compute time. It will charge storage, means whatever data you are storing, you have to pay that. And whatever data is transferring out of the cloud, you have to pay. But data transfer in is free, and so it will solve the expensive issue of traditional IT. So this is the pricing concept in AWS. And now begins with the history of AWS. So if you see that we have IT industry here, and this is Amazon Web Services, and this is the famous person, Jacques. He told that we get historical knowledge not to make us clever the next time, but wiser for all times. So basically, some book it is mentioned 2002 they initially launched, and 2003 they launched first infrastructure. Then 2004 they launched with SQS. Then 6 they launched with the SQS S3 EC2. Then they launched in other region in 2007. And example are Dropbox, Netflix, NASA, Airbnb. Okay, and in some book it is mentioned that AWS released their first service called SQ, Simple Queue, in November 2004, and AWS launched in 2006. And in 2007, 1,80,000 customer enrolled with AWS. Then AWS.com retail web services moved to AWS. And then in 2013, AWS started the certifications. And in 2013, they awarded as for US Department of Health and Ministry Services. And 2015, that AWS a profitable organization. Now these two people basically responsible for this AWS. They have initiated the concept, Benjamin and Chiris, and they have officially launched in 2006. So this is the latest report according to July 2019. AWS is the leading player in the market, then Microsoft, then Google, and challenging Oracle is here, IBM is here, and Alibaba Cloud is there. So there is no challenging. Okay, and only these are the players which are coming into this technology. So according to 2019 report, AWS has this 35 billion revenue and 47% of the market with AWS and 22% market with Azure. So that's why I prefer to go with AWS and Azure according to your job. So you will capture almost 69% customer. Okay, and from last 9 years, it is a leading player, AWS, and now it has these active numbers user, 10 lakhs. Okay, now use cases, McDonald's, 21st century, Activision, and Netflix. So basically, AWS enables you to build sophisticated, scalable application and enterprise IT, backup, storage, big data analytics, website hosting, mobile, gaming, everywhere AWS is using by the customer. And figure wise, you can see here manufacturing organization, large enterprises is using for delivering the training, consulting architecture companies which they use for construction, and media company which use for their media programs and all. So these are the use cases. So introduction. So AWS is cloud computing platform which basically build and manage large scale IT infrastructure. So AWS uses decentralized or distributed IT infrastructure to make several IT resources available on demand. This is the concept of AWS. And pay as you go. So networking, storage, programming, computing, and development platform. So whatever services you are using, you have to pay. Okay, so pay as you go. And advantages in terms of AWS, uh, there are many, uh, because AWS is good in operational expertise, and it is adding services frequently in the cloud. Okay, so almost 200 plus services is available, so that every customer can do that. So it has flexibility, cost effectiveness, scalability, elasticity, and security. And if we say flexibility, so in flexibility you can do many things. You get more time for your core business instead of concentrating on infrastructure. Okay, and you get a choice in running services and application. So you can choose from Oracle Cloud or AWS Cloud or Azure Cloud, and you can enjoy only hosting the applications. Okay, and cost effectiveness means you don't need to any investment. You have to pay when you use, so you are minimizing your expenses, and you have a long-term agreement so that your business will not harm. And then scalability and elasticity means you can add up the resource, you can remove the resource according to the requirement. So that's why you can reduce the cost, and you can improve the customer satisfaction. And then security, because it is a public cloud, so cloud provider is very strict about the security. So they are providing end-to-end security and privacy to the customer, and customer can expect high physical security. And that's why Amazon have several years of experience in designing, developing, and running large-scale IT operation center. So they have confidentiality, they provide availability, and they have agreement you can call it as SLA. Okay, so these are the security things: control, supervise, and audit. And these are the data center. So that way cloud provider provides the security. So first, manage credential, access control list, configure a VPC, virtual private cloud, configure and control the operating system, configure a security group as a virtual firewall, and state a key pair when with introducing virtual server. So these are the things which add in the customer. Then customer can access the data center. And what are the ways to access the data? Access the cloud from AWS. So that is graphical tool, AWS Management Console. Then you have AWS command line interface. Then you have command line tools. Then you have software development kits or SDK, or you have query APIs. So this is very easy and manageable, your management console. And features of AWS free usage. So Amazon offer 12 months services. So in that you have storage. You will get these numbers of requests. You can put these number of requests, and then Amazon EC2 in the EC2 DynamoDB and AWS IoT, Amazon EC2 container. So these are the things which you get, and you can check when you enroll or when you create the user in AWS. Limitation of AWS free usage. It is used for 12 months after first signing. Once the free usage expire, you will be required to pay as you go. So every time you need to shut down the machine, any leftover free monthly usage limit does not roll over the next month. If you exceed the free limit for a month, you have to pay as a standard rate. If you opt for consolidated billing, so it is spread across multiple accounts. The entry is only for one free usage account, so you can't give your account to other one. Excuse me. And pricing, as I said, monthly calculator to estimate the cost, and different region have different prices. So price depend on the region on which you are creating a user or taking the services. So make sure that you check the region price and then enroll it. And global infrastructure. So in global infrastructure, AWS is available all over the world, where you can connect through the net, and all regions are connected through net. And if you see that AWS first region is there, then available zone, then data center, then edge location. So if you see this diagram, so regions are many. So if you want to access this region, so let me go to the net. If you want to see, then I can show, otherwise I can skip. Infrastructure.aws. Yeah, show please. Okay, so see that these are the regions, yellow color. So your region is everywhere. If you go with flat, so see that these are the regions, and every region is connected. Okay, Cape Town, Olo, Bahrain, Mumbai, Singapore, Indonesia, Sydney. And if you scroll this big one, so see that Cape Town has availability zone. Okay, and in availability zone, it has local zone, points of presence, and all things connected with network, right? So in Cape Town, you have 3 availability zone, right? So these are the things. So these are the regions, and in regions, availability zone and local zone and points of presence. So these are the area where AWS is there, and network, everyone is connected through network, and custom hardware is like this way. This is the internet, this is the load balancer, this is the router, this is the silicon, this is the compute, and this is the storage, this is the storage server. So this is the internal hardware of your cloud. Clear? Benefits: strong security, highest availability, fastest performance, and most flexible global footprint. Clear? So this is global infrastructure component. Got it? It's look very interesting, right? Very interesting diagram. They have made it. Okay. So this is, and then regions, as I said, Amazon has own data center across the globe. So basically these are few: North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Australia. And AWS has regions all around the world. Names can be like this. If you see this, US East, you have East, West, West. In Africa, in Asia, you have Hong Kong, Mumbai, Seoul, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, Seoul actually, and not Seoul. And a region is a cluster of data center, and most available AWS services are region scoped. Okay. Then, as I said, these are the physical secure data center, which is built by the AWS, and it is 24/7 service provider. And in region, we have availability zone. So usually 3, minimum 2, maximum 6. Okay. So if you see that there is the region in that this is 1 availability zone, this is 2, this is 3. So 2A, 2B, 2C, and all regions are connected through net. So each availability zone is 1 or more data center. Okay, and they are separated from each other. So they are isolated from disaster, and they are connected with high bandwidth and ultra low latency networking. And Amazon has 216 point of presence. In that, it has 205 locations in then 84 cities across 42 countries, and content are delivered to end user with lower latency. And as I said, each region has availability zone. So these are the zone, region and availability zone. So in Singapore, you have 2. In Sydney, you have 2, like that. And in red color, regions, and new region coming soon, Ohio, UK, and India. I think Hyderabad is developed, and Amazon has started first office, I think, in Hyderabad, in big area. Okay. And now characteristics of region. It is an isolated physical Sorry guys, actually power fluctuate, because of that broadband disconnected. I hope you are in. Am I audible?
Yes, Ahmad. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. So characteristics of region is basically it is used to run application and workload. It will minimize the gap between request and response time and latency. It will manage long-term commitment. It will tackle challenges to scale and manage global infrastructure. And it consists of minimum 2 availability zone and maximum 6. And availability zone, it is isolated location with single or multiple advanced data center. And multiple availability zone enable the customer to distribute their resources among several tier 1 internet service and power providers. So these are, and AWS Console has AWS Global Services. So in that, identity and access management, that is Route 53, this is DNS service, Cloud Front, that is Content Delivery Network, and WAF, that is Web Application Firewall. And most AWS services are region scoped, and in that you have EC2 in infrastructure as a service, and you have Elastic Beanstalk as a platform as a service. You have Lambda or Lambda, whatever you pronounce, function as a service, and recognition software as a service. So these are the AWS consoles related information. And if you want to access region table, so there is the link, AWS-Amazon.com, about AWS Global Infrastructure Regional Product Services you can access. And that's it. So this is the history of AWS, cloud computing, and basic information related AWS. And I hope it will add something in your learnings today's session. So this is, and you can contact me on my OracleRide.com, where everything is there. And source is online documentation and Stephen slides. Okay, he is very good trainer in AWS, so you can check. And yeah, now you can ask the questions if you want.
One quick question. You said like
Yeah.
AWS is 12 months free, right? Say, for example, today
Yes.
I have started an account in AWS, for example, and I didn't use much, but I have whatever server I created, I shut it down or things like that. Okay, and say next year I didn't use much in this say 1 year, and say 18th June 2021, after 1 year of creation of account, if I start using it, for example, so everything, then if I use, then I have to pay, or do I need to create a separate account